Bitcoin is almost back at 65k, but at the same time, something is happening in the stock market. That's interesting, namely the AI sector. Those stocks are being sold off and Iran is launching new attacks again. How all of this is connected and what it means for Kaspa, XRP, Internet Computer, but also Supra and VeChain, will clear all that up now. As always, I'll go through everything based on data and then I'll do the chart analysis again. So let's go straight to the dashboard. The overall market has actually gone to neutral compared to last week, so a bit better. On the one hand, it's because the inflation data is actually more positive than was first assumed. But now let's go through the macro data once again. Fear and greed is at 28, which means fear still prevails in the market here. And that is, of course, always rather negative for risk assets. Altcoin season index remains bearish for altcoins. At 30, it's more of a Bitcoin season. Bitcoin dominance is neutral at 56.5%. And the crypto market cap is slightly rising again, which is actually a positive signal for now. Let's continue looking at derivatives, which are also always extremely important. Funding rates are in the neutral range, then open interest is also in the neutral range, and liquidations, meaning from long or short positions, are actually bullish for the crypto sector because they're no longer so high. So quite a few longs and shorts have been wiped out. That's actually always quite positive. Then on to the liquidity flows. The Bitcoin ETF flows are positive. They are bullish, almost 200 million in the last 7 days. Exchange flows are also bullish because quite a few Bitcoin are being withdrawn from the exchanges, from the crypto exchanges, meaning that many are really hodling their Bitcoin again. Stablecoin liquidity is more in the bearish range, and overall liquidity is now in the neutral range. Next, let's look at the macro data down here. The macro wind, which is also neutral. DXY slightly in the green. US 10Y at 4.43 and the VIX at 17.7. Then the Central Bank of America rate remains the same. Next meeting, as I said, on the 29th, so in 10 days. And the pause is now only seen at 50%. So that could be exciting because the inflation data was more positive than first thought. It could be that the Federal Reserve will lower interest rates again at a certain point. Exactly. Then let's look at the next catalysts. As already mentioned, the FOMC meeting from the Federal Central Bank of America. Then the US inflation data on the 12th of August, extremely important, and Bitcoin options will expire on July 25th next week. And yeah, the Iran conflict, always up and down, so every now and then something positive, then something negative again, a bit like a puppet theater. That's definitely still in the future too. Now, as I said, let's go into the chart analysis together. So here we are in the chart analysis. First, as always, let's look at Bitcoin. Yeah, with Bitcoin, first let's look at the whole range again on the weekly chart, right? That's always meaningful when you look at the whole thing from the very top. And as you can see here, we've had a correction from the top of about 53% so far, which is rather unusual for a bear market low. Normally here, for example, it was over 70%. So it could still go down further. It also depends a bit on the stock market. But let's go back to the daily chart now. How does it look at the moment? We recently had a small green dot here. I already posted that to my 10x Insider group, by the way, right when it appeared. You're really up to date there, I can only recommend it. It's free, but you really get a lot of value there. You can scan the code here, then you'll get more info on that. In any case, with Bitcoin, we're already slowly getting into the overbought range here. So this is becoming a critical zone. So it could go up a bit further now, maybe even retest the old high here. But then I think there will be another major correction. That would also be related to the data. Therefore, I'd generally be cautious with Bitcoin for now. So Bitcoin, as I said, what would I do now? I would wait until we're up here and a big red dot forms. That means that we have a possible top formation, and then it goes down. And as soon as a big green dot forms down here again, then it gets exciting for me for another entry opportunity. But let's move on to Ethereum. Ethereum has actually risen quite a bit since here. If we look at that, boom, almost 26%. But now a small red dot, so a possible bullish trend reversal. I see it similarly to Bitcoin there. If we go down here and a big green dot forms here, it'll be exciting. Then Solana. Solana recently formed a big red dot that was here on July 6th, meaning we were in an overbought zone here. Well, what did the indicator show there and what happened afterwards? Boom, we've corrected by almost 12% so far. It could still go further, of course, but you can see the indicator already saw a possible top there. Therefore, extremely important. If you turned off the chart, you wouldn't really see it. It's just much better this way, especially if you see it right when it appears. And of course, before the drawdown came, the dot already appeared. Exactly, Solana looks similar, but we've already seen more downside there now. But if we go down here and a big green dot forms, then it could get exciting. Let's move on to Kaspa. Kaspa had a small red dot here, and then we were sold off as well. We're slowly coming back into the oversold zone now. If a big green dot forms here, I'll post that in the 10x Insider, by the way. Then moving on to Internet Computer. How does that look? Here too, the indicator formed a big red dot, a possible top formation. After that, we were already sold off. We're also in the middle range here, so there's definitely still room to the downside. If you want news and chart analyses for Internet Computer, then join the 10x Insiders, because I also do some chart analysis there. Then let's go to Supra. How does it look with Supra? Supra is quite exciting. We recently had a small green dot, so a bullish possible trend reversal. And then we already moved upwards. A slight increase, but we're still down here in the overbought zone, so it could still be dangerous for Supra. Right now, I'd be cautious and would wait. Then XRP. Yeah, basically a similar picture, right? Range-wise, we're in the middle area, meaning there's still room to the downside. I see it similarly there too. I'd wait until we have an oversold zone down here. Then it'll get exciting. SUI, similar picture. We're even a bit more bullish here, so moving slowly into the bearish zone. I'd be careful here until we go down. I recently made a video about Cardano, by the way, a news video, very exciting. I'll link it for you up here. Cardano currently looks like a small green dot has formed, so it could be a slight bullish trend reversal now. But here too, generally speaking, from a broader perspective, we're in the middle range. The risk of a further correction is definitely there. Finally, let's take another look at the entire altcoin sector. It actually looks similar here. We're actually more in the bearish zone up here. So there's also a risk of a larger correction again. Therefore, I'd be careful there. Yeah, if you don't want to miss videos like this, I do a full market update every Sunday. I'm also constantly improving my channel. And there will be more videos again in the future, so please subscribe to my channel now so you're in and don't miss anything. And now I'll link another video here that I made recently, also extremely exciting. Have fun watching and see you in a bit.